Now, Sheikh Hasina was handed a penalty in absentia. We also asked her in this exclusive interview whether she is considering contesting that verdict.
Is that question to me?
No, to Brian.
Can we play out what Sheikh Hasina said to that answer by us?
Ma'am, also, are you considering contesting the penalty imposed on you in... Ma'am, the second question being, have you received any communication from Bangladesh, of people asking you to return? Ma'am, also, are you considering contesting the penalty imposed on you in absentia?
You see, the penalty imposed on me, it is because a penalty imposed in absentia through a politically motivated process cannot be accepted as a justice. So, I will contest. I was not given a genuine opportunity to defend myself in a normal, impartial, and credible judicial process. A verdict reached without full participation of the accused, without proper defense, and under political pressure cannot be treated as a final word on truth. The law now being used against us was created during my tenure for a sacred historical purpose, to bring justice for the victims of the 1971 Liberation War atrocities. I was not created to be turned into a weapon against the people of Bangladesh, but the illegal interim regime altered the framework by notification and turned it into a political weapon. They restructured the International Crimes Tribunal, appointed politically biased prosecutors and judges, and staged a trial where basic legal safeguards were ignored. This movement was never a purely peaceful student movement. From 15th July 2024, violence, attacks, arson, organized destruction began to spread. Police stations, public infrastructures, government establishments, and symbols of national development were targeted. Weapons were looted, law enforcement members were attacked and killed. Country was pushed into chaos under the cover of protest. 18 July 2024, I formed a judicial inquiry commission to investigate every death and every incident of violence so that the truth could come out. But after Muhammad Yunus took power in an illegal and unconstitutional manner, that inquiry was stopped and indemnity was given to those involved in violence. My question is, why? Why he stopped inquiry? Well, those who truly want justice do not stop an inquiry. They do not bury evidence and then call it law. So, I will contest the penalty, not to avoid justice, but to expose the truth through a fair, open, and lawful.
So, Brian, also Sheikh Hasina there, talking about whether she plans to contest that death penalty served to her or not. What stood out in answer to you?
Definitely this was one of the third questions that I asked Sheikh Hasina, obviously, where I asked her about, is she, considering contesting the penalty that was imposed on her in her absentia, to which obviously Sheikh Hasina clearly stated that she will contest it because a penalty was imposed in absentia through a politically motivated process, and it cannot be accepted as justice of what she stated. Not only that, she said that she was not even given a genuine opportunity to defend herself through a normal, impartial or credible force or a judicial process. Rather, she stated that it was politically motivated, especially by the interim government that was coming into power. Not only that, she said that under political pressure, it cannot be, it cannot be taken as a final word of truth. Yes.
All right, Ambassador Veena Sikri, of course, that death penalty to Sheikh Hasina, of course, has been announced. Sheikh Hasina speaking on, that death penalty, its ramifications, and her plans to challenge it.
Yes, absolutely. I think she's fully within her rights to challenge that death penalty and to file an appeal, and that appeal is allowed within the law. When the case was held, first of all, as Sheikh Hasina has so clearly brought out, it was held in what is called the International Crimes Tribunal, set up constitutionally just to try those who committed genocide and violence against the people in 1971. So they're using that court to try her. So this is completely unconstitutional. She was not allowed to use her own defense lawyer. A defense lawyer was given, but he did nothing. He sat through the entire trial and allowed it to go completely uncontested. Now, this is a travesty of all law, and Bangladesh has been a very vibrant democracy with a very vibrant judiciary. So I think the very way in which this death penalty has been given means that they want to put her behind bars and that she's done nothing. And she has pointed out, why haven't
she's
you
mentioned
tried
that. She's mentioned that very clearly. She's mentioned that very clearly, Major General Sudhakarji, why she doesn't accept this death penalty.
Firstly, the constitution of the court is not entitled, nor is it legally tenable to punish a political leader who has governed the country for more than 15 or 15 years. And because that court, like Ambassador Ma'am has articulated, I totally agree with her. It was meant to address the genocidal accountability during 1971 liberation, wherein 3 million people had been killed, and more than 700,000 women and children, they had been raped. These are the people who are supposed to have been taken to task, and some justice should have been meted out to the victims. That is why that court was constituted, and it is against the international law to bring or welcome a platform as this for a particular purpose, thereafter issue a local notification by the interim government, wherein Yunus had no locus standi. He was neither a political leader, nor was he actually elected by the kind of a method that is followed in a democracy like Bangladesh as president. He had been imposed by a deep state which is invisible, which came from out of the blue.
Absolutely.
Therefore, that is not tenable. And last point I have to say is that as far as the students' agitation is concerned, she, as the Prime Minister, had actually abolished 30% of reservation. High Court of Bangladesh had restored it, and Supreme Court had actually imposed 5% for the freedom fighting children and grandchildren, 93% based on the merit.
In this conversation, in fact, we also